Thanks for staying with us. So our hot topic today is about the Niger State Governor, Mohammed Bago, has been caught on video ordering his security detail to slap and deal with an Islamic cleric during the Fidal prayers for the late wife of his deputy, Zainab Yakubu Garba, at the deputy governor's residence in Mina. According to the report, the governor, who was in the midst of sympathizers, requested a volunteer to offer prayers for the repose of the deceased. When the cleric indicated interest in offering the prayer, Mr. Bago became furious and asked if he was a cleric. He says, "Are you a cleric?" He asks. Many have condemned his act. What are your thoughts on this? You can call us on the numbers on your screen, 081-0764-1679, 09024163440. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. All right, so what are your thoughts when you saw this video? Because I don't know why people were surprised. This is not the average narcissistic, patriarchal, mentality that we have, that many women deal with in their homes a lot of times. And when we talk about it, as if women are just complaining. But sometimes these acts seem to come out, and people are now discussing, because he's a governor, like he should know better. And that's why I always argue, like, do we think these leaders are going to come from one special planet, or are they not from what we have? But what are your thoughts? I mean, on this video, let me start with you, Nima. When you watch that video.
I saw the governor speaking Hausa, which I don't understand, and I heard him say to someone, "Slap him." And the video shows that a young man had been slapped, and he was on his knees. I didn't like that position at all. That took away his dignity to life, and I felt to see him crouching on the ground in front of him, that annoyed me. And I think the governor should understand that we're not in a monarchy. This is not his palace. He's an elected official, elected by the people of Niger State to govern for a limited period of 4 years. It's also very annoying to see that he was at a Fidal prayer, and the death, the death that key deputy governor wife is not telling him that that is the inevitable outcome of everybody. That, he's doing Lord and Master to the extent somebody had to be beaten to fall on his knees. I did not witness the slap in the video, but I saw that person had been beaten and he was on the ground. That part broke me. No human being should be made to feel that way in front of a crowd of people, no matter what his offense was. And as governor, whatever the court has not ruled on, because you're in a democracy, you should not execute it. These governors, if you see them in their state, awaiting death sentence people are plenty. They refuse to sign an execution order, and yet you're slapping somebody with which hand?
Let me come to Miriam, because some will see this video and say, the culture there, the fact that you crouch or kneel down or is part of the culture. Okay. So somebody else might be interpreting that as being I don't want to use the word submissive. That's subservient, being subservient. But do you think that's what you saw in that video? Yes, we understand what he said, but what do you make of that video?
Okay, so first of all, I heard when he asked who, cleric someone should give the prayers. Yeah. Well, I got confused between then the prayers and then the slap him, hit him. I'm still trying to understand, asking him if he was a cleric. And I thought maybe in his prayer, did he say something wrong? Did he not say the right prayer?
He wasn't even allowed to pray.
So for me, what happened in between? What did he do in between? Now, that's on one side. Let's say, that he did something wrong and he deserved to be punished for it. The slap him was not necessary. But to see in the north, people crouching in front of people that they maybe are their elders or who they're their leaders is not an unusual thing. It shows respect. It shows, especially if you think you have done something wrong, that you're sorry. So that happens. So to stand, and it's very hard to see someone who is either your junior or someone that shows you respect to stand and look at you face to face, So I don't know if he had crouched in his own capacity as maybe he felt that he had done something wrong. Now, the slapping him, I don't know why he had to slap him. If it was something that was so grievous, they could have arrested him, taken him out of the place, or warned him, if it was not such a grievous thing, but maybe an embarrassing thing. Don't ever do that again. This is a very important gathering that we have here. We're here to pray for the, for the deceased, and maybe this person was taking, doing something that was not right in that place. So it's in the word slap, but in the crouching is usually not seen as unusual.
Right.
But I don't know the circumstance in which he led him to crouch and then started shouting, slap.
I always think that this conversation sometimes looks hypocritical to me, because the average Nigerian, forget man or woman, the average Nigerian always feel that they can oppress somebody. Yeah. So somebody, you give your car to a mechanic, and maybe he buys a fake part to put in your car, and something happens, and you get there, you're upset, and you slap him. Now, the right thing for you, according to the law, is to get the police, arrest him, and let there be the proper justification for any sanction that is brought to him. But what we do here is we slap, we oppress, we do it all the time. So my question goes back again, what I've been asking. Yeah. We always think because somebody is a governor, suddenly he came from planet XYZ. That planet he came from, he should just know how to behave. That it's not Nigeria because this is a man. All of them grew up in this country where we've all been oppressing people. Let me let Amaka here. What are your thoughts on this? Because that's how I feel that sometimes these conversations are hypocritical for me.
Because I want to get a clear context. So an Islamic cleric is supposed to be like a pastor or something, right? A religious leader. So I find it funny that you're at a gathering. First of all, you don't have respect for the people that you came to pray over their disease. So you even want to start an act of violence in their space. First of all, it shows that you're a very disrespectful person, right? Then secondly, you did not appoint someone to say prayers. You said someone should volunteer to say prayers, and someone volunteered, whether they're cleric or not. And I find it very offensive that this person happens to be an Islamic cleric. That means a religious leader. And then seeing him crouch in front of you, I find it doesn't go down well with me, because for Christians, I know that our religious leaders are people that we revere, we hold in high esteem, we respect. So seeing a religious leader crouching like that and they're telling people to slap him and humiliate him doesn't go down well with me. For me, it shows an abuse of power. Things should be dealt in a certain way. Respect our leaders, whether religious or not, otherwise, or politically appointed leaders, to handle situations in better ways. If there was a situation, you should take the person out, and that should be investigated, or questions should be asked. But being brazen like that in front of everybody, in front of people you came to help, suggests the kind of character and the kind of person you are. Because someone that is not a violent person, or someone that is naturally not a disrespectful person, would have acted in a totally different way.
So, therefore, the question is, why do we expect so much of these our leaders?
So I hear what you're asking about the hypocrisy, because there are videos also of where someone would have responded differently, where maybe talk to the person respectfully, and you hear Nigerians say, what? If it was me, I would have slapped him. We have seen where somebody, did something wrong, and a woman raised her hand and slapped a child, and people are like, yes, she deserved it. So our violence, we contextualize it, or, we just never have a one rule for how we view violence. For me, I've always stood by no violence. Like, there has to be a proper way that we conduct ourselves, express our grievances, and show disagreements. It does not always have to end up in you slapping, whatever. And if it's something against the law, there's a process that you follow. There's the police station, there's the whole investigation, all gamut of options to have followed instead of acting out that way. But we do this for every situation. And then the hypocrisy of Nigeria, I'll go back again. If he had done it another way, we would have heard why he did not slap him. If it's me, I would have slapped him. His face would have finished, So the truth now is, to us, Nigerians, who are we and what do we expect us to do in this situation? We need to choose one way, what we revere, what we respect, and what we'd rather do. Because I'm getting confused here.
But we need to take
confusion here. Really, please help me. Because I like the example that a young woman slapped. So the example is when somebody is provoked. They say, let me not use the Yoruba proverb because it's not an appropriate word. If somebody is provoked, you cannot tell the person not to react. Okay, there's even a better way. People say, then they beat picky, make them tell her.
There are consequences of that reaction.
You cannot beat a child and know the child's tears.
I totally agree with you, but there should be consequence for that reaction.
There will be consequences. Okay. Now, we can put it in context when a Nigerian not in office, someone who doesn't understand the Constitution, is assumed when you run for office in this country that you have good knowledge of the Constitution that puts you in office, because that Constitution is what ensures that you made it to the office. So you are in office now as governor. You are not every Nigerian whose child was being beaten in front of them who's reacting. There was no provocation in this situation. They're two different. There's no confusion here.
No.
Yes.
There was no provocation here. You're Lord and Master thinking you're in your monarchy. Hold on a minute, let me learn. You're thinking you're in a monarchy at a fidel prayer for the dead. You went there because your executive, His Excellency, sir, governor, you assume you're in your monarchy, you're king. You ask for someone to pray. And in Islamic context, when they ask for somebody to pray, anybody with the knowledge, my young son can think he has the knowledge and offer to pray. He doesn't have to be an imam or a cleric. What he is assuming, what he is talking about is because I am governor and an appointed cleric from the office of the governor. That's what he's talking about. But if you talk about cleric, anybody with the knowledge of the Quran can pray at a fidel prayer.
Okay, so the point I was trying to point out, I hear you, but the point I was trying to highlight and amplify is that Mr. Governor is not just going to become somebody that is knowledgeable about the constitution overnight. Because the truth is, the woman who is slapping somebody because somebody also should have that responsibility. No. Be able to choose. Just like you said, she can choose her reaction, but that reaction must have consequences. You cannot dare slap because you are feeling emotional. Slap somebody. There should be consequence. So that is why
it recognizes when a person is provoked.
Yes.
Even the court excuses.
Your provocation too must have consequences.
Yes. So let me say something. So we need to take into consideration the environment we find ourselves. It is said that we're all the product of our environment. And the Nigerian environment, unfortunately, happens to be a violent kind of kind of society. That's the truth. In Nigeria, if I take my car to a mechanic, for example, like Moira said, and he buys fake parts and puts petrol and puts in my car, my engine now knocks. And I go there and I'm telling him, Mr. Man, I'm not sure why you did this, but I don't know why. He'll feel I'm a mugu. He'll feel I'm stupid. That is the truth. He will start raising his voice at me. I started, Madam, you be woman, you don't know what they talk, leave that thing. But when I come with my gratitude to show I be fellow Nigerian, they crazy, so then you find out that they tend to simmer down. So it seems like the environment tries to bring out the madness in everybody. And like in Lagos, even driving on the road, you find yourself that you decide that today you're praying, you're fasting. By the time you start driving, by the time you drive 1 kilometer, you're already cursing and everything.
Let me take this call. Odio's been holding for a minute. I'll come back to you, Amaka. Good morning, Odio. Sorry for keeping you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to everybody in the studio. I think it doesn't have to do with the position of a governor. It's just something of morals. If you can recall, this thing has happened sometime in my state during the time of former Governor Adamso Shomole, where he openly told a lady, go and die. A lady that was okay. So I don't think it has to be because of his position, because he knows about the Constitution and all that. It has to do with your personality. It shows the kind of person that the governor is. It's not because of his position. It's his type of person. This is the one what he just did now is the one we are able to see outside. For him to have been able to exhibit this type of attitude outside, you should know what he can do behind the camera. So I don't think, for me personally, I don't think it's a thing of position, being a governor or all that. It's just his type of person. And I discourage this type of attitude. It's wrong. Thank you very much.
So imagine I am the governor right now. What can provoke a governor like this? What can provoke me? The audacity for you to even volunteer. I'm standing, we are here. And you know, the thinking. That has provoked me. I'm calling for clerics. It is your own kind that is coming forward to come and pray. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just telling you that the thinking that we have, because we always find something to provoke us to action in this country. Every little thing is a justification for me to be violent against you.
Yeah, so with what Nima said earlier, I think all of us here agree that the way he conducted himself is wrong.
Yes.
But the conversation here is, did he conduct himself in such a way that is alien to us?
No.
It is not. Yeah. But it is something that we have constantly spoken against. But we have been on this table, and Nima, I have heard you, in some situation, agreed or, supported some acts that that we disagreed on because you felt that that person was justly provoked. And provocation, really, it can be, it's determined by you. So this governor feels he was provoked for whatever reason. I still feel that there's a gap we need to fill, whatever it is. But what conversations happened for him to have felt provoked? But he felt provoked. So if you can give a pass to a woman who felt provoked and slapped a child, then you should give the same pass to the man who thinks a cleric, a person who was not a cleric, because he was asking, are you a cleric, should be slapped. That's what I'm saying. But if you do not think that what the governor did was right, then any other situation where we find people who feel that they were provoked, raise their hand and hit people, or ask for security personnel or police to attack them, then then you are playing. Well, in this case, then Nigerians were playing like two sides of the fence.
We are belittling a lot of issues, and we are beclouding this issue. So the governor now, who is not every Nigerian, has decided, oh, you're too small to stand up for. When I call for prayer, now you, oh yeah. Slap him.
Is that what he said?
That's what was interpreted. I don't understand Hausa. I will not say that I understand it properly. But he said, he told his detail, slap him. And that one did not really slap him. Slap him. Are you afraid to slap? That kind of thing. And then he was slapped. That's the governor now. We're now comparing it to a mother. Wait, or an auntie who had to watch a video of her niece being slapped by a co-student over and over, and at some point raised her hand. We've compared it to that. We've also compared it, just a moment. I know what you're talking about, so I'm going to put it in context. We've compared it to the swearing in Anambra, where a former first lady thinks, oh, it's good to go and provoke Madam where she's sitting, and walks with her two shoes to where Madam party child woman was sitting, and started to taunt her or something, and that he broke into a fight. We have beclouded it, and I'm saying, in the highest of authorities are courts. And courts will specifically pick times and places where provocation is legal.
Exactly.
When it's justified.
Exactly.
And we're saying, no, in this case now, if we justify every kind of provocation, we cannot now call out this non-provocative instance.
Yes.
That's what we're saying.
Because when I watched the video, I didn't see a situation where the guy would have provoked him, or to the extent that even if
he wasn't even close to me.
To the extent
I'll come to you.
to the extent of him saying they should slap him, and even if you want to, you feel that the punishment should be meted out to the man, that something happened.
Let me take this call.
Should be done appropriately.
Holding for a while. Shola, thanks for calling.
Good morning.
Morning.
You see, this is the situation in this country. When you see a governor like this, that behaves like this in the public, especially somebody that's supposed to be in a sober mode, where there is a fidel prayer going on. Imagine there is this situation whereby people are allowed, or states are allowed, to have their own police. What they will have done? You see, these people, the gra that is in some people, I don't want to say the other way. I mean, let these people, they should laugh. Who are they? Where are they coming from? What is their thinking? What is their way of behaving? For to say prayer in a very cool, quiet atmosphere, somber atmosphere, is the silence the last thing to hear from the people that are supposed to be at the top of their affairs or controlling the state? I'm sorry. We have a long way.
Oh, certainly. Thank you, Mr. Shola. I really believe that all of us are saying the same thing in different ways. I totally agree with Nimiel. You're right. The courts can see and recognize different kinds of provocations. But what we are saying is that the genesis of it is something that is in our society. The same way a rich man feels, or a wealthy man feels that I can slap my houseboy because he stole $5,000 and I'm justified to do it. Same way a regular folk can beat up his neighbor because, hey, you parked in my space. It is all of us. So now, because I suddenly you slapped your houseboy for stealing $5,000, tomorrow you run for office, and somehow automatically I feel like you read the Constitution, you respect human rights, and you definitely not do that to your subordinate. This is impossible. So the conversation I want to also see is that all of us, we are all somewhat in different ways guilty, where we have brewed a society where we don't have respect for human beings, regardless of where you are. So that's the point.
That's not every Nigerian.
That's the point. That's many Nigerians.
Someone who saw someone on one way. He's a Nigerian, full blood, no mixed blood. It's not my...
And a governor.
And a governor. He had full authorities. That was an arrestable offence. They simply picked the man who was later released that same day for warning. They see they do that one way there. This one was at a civil event. And you cannot use this brush to paint me.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And all other people that are there.
God bless you. You see, it is very important that we continue to pray every day that, Lord, guide me, don't let me give myself to the spirit of error. It is that spirit that misled Moses, and he never made it to the promised land. Whatever you do in anger, under the heat of anger, you always put the person into making error, into disrepute. And that is exactly what happened to that man. He has no reason whatsoever to have taken the step he took. But I can only hope that I don't know what the situation is now, whether he has tendered apology to the person that was assaulted. And that is, by the way, please, Mo, I've always followed your program. If you see a book I did on agriculture now that I've been trying to put before the president, even people that are around, that are close to him, I don't know. They told me that when this book is ready, let me know. I will put it forward. I've been what I'm suffering now, the pain, the tension I'm facing, is more than what it took me as I went through in 6 months that I used to package that book. It is what will take agriculture to your business.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adewale. Yes.
Okay, so I was saying that provocation, as Nima explained it, she says that there's that the court will determine that it is justified. And I'm saying that at the point that you have responded, nobody knows whether it's justified until you go through the courts. So everybody who has responded back in violence felt at the point that they were justifiably provoked. So that's on one hand. But what we're saying is that going forward, or right now, we have a culture of responding with violence for a lot of things. And we expect it also of each other. In places or times where we haven't responded that way, we have been called, Mumu, you're not smart enough. If it was me, I would have given him. Don't you see they're afraid of me? Because they know me. That is our culture. We know that. Anybody that says they don't know that, that's, we're playing funny. There are some people, of course, we don't generalize that every Nigerian is like that. Of course, there are some people, but generally, there's just a culture of you respond with violence, especially if you feel you're older, if you feel you have a bigger position than someone, if you feel like you're in a position of leadership, if you're a governor, a commissioner, the president, if you are the gatesman in front of a house, yes. If you are the taxi driver and if you are the bus driver, there's just something that makes you feel that you're a little above that person, and there's a way you must respond to situation. Now, for me, this conversation is to remind us, all of us Nigerians, that we have been hypocritical in many ways. You hear of a man who is very incensed because a woman has beat her house help so badly. He's upset, rightly so, and then he goes to his workplace and he's bullying a co-worker who he feels, or a junior worker who he feels that is his subordinate and shouldn't have spoken to me like that. Who the hell do you think you are? So you are justifiable here, but you have gone to do the same thing because it's the culture, it's how we know how to respond to some of the provocation. It has become our culture. When we say something is our culture, it does not mean it's what we want to be our culture, but because we have done it over and over, it has become a part of our life.
Part of what
does not acceptable does not mean that it's not something that we don't express it that way.
Conversation here is to highlight it. Let Nigerians know, because it has somewhat become a part of us. Even when you travel, people say, Nigerians, you hear them, they're shouting at each other. There are certain things that is not our...
Sometimes when we are shouting, we are actually joking.
What I'm just saying is that for us, it is who we are. Yeah. But we're saying that we must begin to amplify these errors. And then, so that as we are raising the next generation, we are conscious of the fact that we cannot continue solving problems through violence. That's not going to work. Let me take this call and I'll come back to you, Nima. I know you want to be in perfect. Good morning, Damola from Niger State. Thanks for calling. You're live.
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
My contribution might sound a little bit, I don't know. We actually live in this town. We know who the governor is. It's not if I'm taking sides with anybody, but you should see the boys these guys are pests. They go everywhere. At that boy's age, what should they be doing in gardens that is not even their business? And they misbehave a lot. So, and the governor is this kind of person that is a no-nonsense guy. He's actually very focused and a no-nonsense guy. But these guys, they're like pests. Every occasion, they're not even invited if they're there. They behave like, at that age, there should be something meaningful you do that. What was he doing there? So we are... Hello?
Can you hear me? The cleric? What is he doing there? Is it the cleric or the governor?
He's not a cleric. He has actually come out to make a video and actually apologize I don't know, it could be, you know, he has claimed to be the boy of the governor since he was a banker. But you kept following he claimed from 1999 that he has been with the governor. They should make meaningful use of their time. He's actually the governor's boy. What does it mean? He has been with the governor since 1999, and you follow him to every function. They're actually pets. They should look for something meaningful to do with their time. So they actually deserve those slaps again. This is the second I'm hearing.
Okay, that's another angle. Thank you. So that's
Thank
part
you
of it.
very
Yeah,
much.
right. So there are leeches like that that follow top politicians
yes,
around.
everywhere, yes.
So you become a leech, and then he sees you like he said, "Oh, yeah, please come and pray." And I'm not saying that I'm not there.
Yeah.
I'm just giving an example. So you see somebody who has almost like a leech, and now he's offering to pray. I'm wondering, what are you doing here again? So there are different ways. But again, does it justify a slap? Because we can don't say what Damola just said. We can see, if we use what Damola just said.
He's not the first governor who has leeches on him. Even celebrity. If somebody be DMW who just follows the video praising him.
DMW, okay.
Israel.
And follows him. Okay, sorry, Israel of the DMW. And
DMW.
follows him everywhere and just praises him and just that's what.
No, that's a leech that.
Has made himself useful.
That's a paid sidekick.
No, he's a leech that has made himself useful.
Okay.
So now,
Don't and say what you don't know.
I think they have a relationship.
What kind of work is that? Which category of work?
So leech is.
So just a moment. I'm sorry that it's a leech. That's the words that she generated. But there are people who walk around the corridors of successful people.
Yes.
Power, musicians, anything. They walk around the corridors trying to fit in.
Yeah.
Trying to find something to do. And so Israel has finally fit in.
Hey, let's not make it out.
But this example is that there are people like that and there are ways to deal with them. If the governor doesn't want somebody in his around or in the space around him, his details know what to do. He's not supposed to allow into the person in. But
space.
if the governor is attending a civil event, if he's not in the governor's circle, he could be in the deputy governor's circle. This was at the deputy governor's house.
Yes.
The governor could be in the stadium and this supposed leech will be there. These are public events. This is not the governor's house. The person is not struggling to be at the governor's entrance. You know, it's not like the person was attending a public event or a civil event or a social event, whatever it was. Just a moment that the governor was attending. If he offers to pray and you don't want him to pray, you simply say, not you, next person.
Exactly.
You don't slap him, Bawo.
Yeah.
And they are not the same. It's not a general Nigerian culture. We are not all doing like that.
And the funny thing was that, like I said, he should have appointed somebody to pray. This one, he did not do that. And he offered, he made it open to anybody, and anybody can pray, right? And if you're not comfortable with the person that, volunteered, you say, not you, next person. It's that simple. It shouldn't be a big deal. And if you don't want, the same way you're saying, you should hold him, slap him. If you don't want this leech to leech on you and follow you around, you just tell your aides that this person cannot be seen around me. If you're seen around me, you'll be arrested or whatever. You're a threat to my life or threat to me. So the governor also has that. So for the fact that he allows this person to follow him everywhere, and then now wants to, exactly, because he has a right to, regardless of whoever wants to follow. If your security details feel that you're a threat to the governor's life or a political person, you will not be there. That's the reality.
Right.
So for a fact he allows that person to be there, you shouldn't treat the person that way.
Can I,
go ahead,
please?
because...
Okay, so I'm happy with, the analogy I've given, because for me, if it works out just the way that you have described it, that this is a person that has found himself, that has pushed himself onto the governor's circle. Let's say that this is not the first time. Let's say he recognized him because he's seen him over and over again. And I said, young man, I don't want to see you. Tomorrow, young man, you're here. Did I not say, who is this person? Did I not say I don't want to see this person? Then we're now at a prayer. And then he gets up to pray. This is the same boy that I've been seeing around. I've been warning him not to be here. What is he doing here? Now, I'm giving this story, not justifying that the governor has to slap him or ask that he should be slapped. But I'm saying that because we don't know how much may have gone on, because from the response of the governor, he looked like he recognized him. Are you a cleric? Like he did, you are not a cleric. You should not be saying this prayer. What he should have done is, if he had asked for just the arrest of him, many of us too would have called him out for being overzealous. But he should have asked for his removal and the arrest of that young man, not the slapping. So the slapping is the problem. But to say, I don't want to believe that the governor just woke up one morning, sitting down, called for somebody to pray, and then he goes berserk. I'm thinking, based on his response, that there may have been situations where this boy has shown, or this man has shown his face many times. Now, this is something that happens in Nigeria all the time, where people just follow until they have build enough relationship or something that they find themselves there. That thing he did is a move. Something of power. All those motivational books that will tell people, push yourself to the front. Go and talk to the Ukraine.
That's why I laughed. It's like,
go and push yourself in the front. Yeah, you're not meant to be there, but pick the mic and
make sure you force yourself in
and
the
so that's what they do.
So
that is what we find people like this doing. So there are two things that have happened here. The way the governor handled it, and also who this person is. Is this something also now, Nigerians, that we encourage? Is this a job that you find yourself in circles and keep moving until you find that you have been accepted into the circle or embarrassed as he was?
I'll come to you in a second. Let me take Tanko. I'm calling. Good morning, Tanko. You're live.
Yes. Madam, I'm good to see all of you there. I'm highly impressed with all your contribution, what you are actually doing for the sake of this country. What is actually the problem of this country? They have a very good law, but they are not obedient to the law. You see, that most of them feel that they are above the law. And they have caused their children even to disobey. They don't even follow the law. You see, some of them who are in this authority, like the people who voted them into power, we find their children have become very, very nervous, very naggy children, very stubborn. You cannot talk to them. When you talk to them, they will now challenge you. We are talking about moral discipline in the society. What you are actually contributing, I'm always impressed and I'm happy. So I wish Nigerians will know that we need to respect, we need to be respectful, we need to be disciplined. At least if we see elders, we should be able to respect elders.
Thank you very much, Tanko.
Just like the way I used to see.
Because many of us have traveled abroad, we lived, and we are provoked to do certain things, but we hold up, we hold our emotions because we know that I am angry, but this person can. We saw the video that was trending, 2 adults fighting in the UK, Nigerians over relationship. You do that, you get arrested. But here you can always call somebody to protect yourself. The point is that if you know that if there are consequences for everybody's provocations, people will redress and know how to adjust their emotions when it comes to it. The governor or the rich man or the poor man or the mechanic, everybody would adjust how they are provoked. So that will be drastically reduced in the eye of the public. The point I wanted to raise from this is that we should see a learning in these things. There's got to be a learning. We cannot continue to do the same thing. How we behave. We can and expect a sane society. It's not going to happen. If we recognize people's behavior and say, listen, even though this person is wrong, is in the wrong, there is a better, a more civilized approach in every situation. Yeah. So that's the approach that we're trying to preach, and that's what this show is about. We must show people there are different ways. You might do the but there's also a decent way of doing it. Now that you have said that, well said.
And also, I want to say something. I want to say something. And also, a part of correcting things, too, is that, for example, what you said, for the governor that has recognized somebody like you again, it's also the duty of the people around him. Right?
Exactly.
His security detail, his aides, to know that this guy is like a trigger. We're alleging, like I said, that this is a trigger for Oga, for example. Yeah. We're saying that you again, then person stands up, right? You should take away that you should help the person. Yeah. Like, let's say, like people in political authorities, some of our leaders, even business personnel, CEOs, they're overworked. They have little they have triggers, right? So your job as an aide or someone around your PA is to protect them and take away those triggers. Yeah. So if you feel that all these leeches are a sign of trigger for them, then it's your job. If not, you should be replaced or fired. You're not doing your job.
I wanted to hear you. You know that now you have addressed general Nigerians. This one that's governor, have slapped somebody that is supposedly...
You apologize.
Now the same thing. His protege or his proxy has helped him to slap somebody in his state where he is supposed to lead them. Let's use the Nigerian or rule them. How do we react to governor? This instance.
Public apology.
Before we go to the general, address the instance question.
Public apology.
I think from what the last caller said,
so it's Damola who lives in Niger State. Well, go ahead.
No. So if they feel that he did something wrong, I know that many people would feel that he did it as a father. Many people will agree that he did it as a father, as for his slapping and his embarrassment. If people now look, if a proper story is given to us and it shows that this man has just done something wrong, they will commend the governor for doing it. They will say that he was rightly provoked and justifiably provoked to have shown him the sort of, what's the word we use? It's discipline. He corrected him in the right way. He's a no-nonsense man that has corrected an erring youth in the right way. That's how Nigerians are going to look at it. But what we are saying, or what I am saying, is that going forward, an erring youth, whatever it is, there has to be a different way to correct him. I do not, okay.
Because you don't want him to,
what will happen to him? Public apology.
You slapped a citizen of Niger State, an indigenous of Niger State. Address him.
Address him. So yes,
Leave Nigerians
public
out of
apology.
this
Yes,
instance.
he needs to publicly apologize to the person and accept the fact that he should have done things differently. He should have handled the situation in a better manner, and he should not encourage other people to do the same, slap and assault people.
Okay, on that note, I think we can end this segment. That's what we can take on this segment. Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we continue with the show. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.